The embracing light of compassion illumines and protects us always, having already broken through the darkness of our ignorance. Still the clouds and mists of greed, desire, anger and hatred constantly obscure the sky of true and real shinjin. But just like the light of the sun being blocked by clouds and mists, beneath those clouds and mists, there is brightness, not darkness. In this stanza, from the beautiful God of true faith, Venerable Master Shinran vividly tells us that we would receive the inconceivable benefit of being embraced and not forsaken by the light of great compassion, the moment we are able to single-heartedly entrust in Amida Buddha's primal vow. This universal vow is Amida's absolute promise to save hopeless persons, like ourselves, from the treacherous cycle of birth and death, known as samsara. Saved by the inconceivable working of Amida's vow, I shall realize birth in the Pure Land. The moment you entrust yourself thus to the vow, so that the mind set upon saying the Nembutsu arises within you, you are immediately brought to share in the benefit of being grasped by Amida, never to be abandoned. Know that the primal vow of Amida makes no distinction between people young and old, good and evil, only shinjin, entrusting faith, is essential. For it is the vow to save the person whose karmic evil is deep and grave, and whose blind passions abound. Thus, for those who entrust themselves to the primal vow, no good acts are required, because no good surpasses the Nembutsu. Nor need they despair of the evil they commit, for no evil can obstruct the working of Amida's primal vow. Tanishul, Lamenting of Divergences Chapter 1. Amida Buddha's primal vow is the Tathagata's pledge to save all suffering sentient beings, like ourselves, who are firmly caught, for billions of lives, in the net of samsara. All of us have struggled in vain, from the moment we are born, constantly seeking to find happiness, and to avoid suffering. Yet, being spiritually blind and ignorant, our continuous search for lasting happiness, in this fleeting life, would definitely be futile. Therefore, carelessly we live and squander away this extremely rare human birth. However, those who come to realize and truthfully admit their utter inability to free themselves by their own self-power efforts and practices are assured of ultimate happiness the moment when they single-heartedly entrust themselves, taking refuge in Amida Buddha and the power of the primal vow. If, when I attain Buddhahood, sentient beings of the 10 quarters, with sincere mind, joyfully entrusting themselves, aspiring to be born in my land, and saying my name perhaps even 10 times, should not be born there, may I not attain the supreme enlightenment. Excluded are those who commit the 5 grave offenses, and those who slander the right Dharma. The primal vow is Amida Buddha's absolute confidence, true and real shinjin, in saving all sentient beings. The great compassion of the Buddha is activated in this universal vow, the true other power that effectively saves all persons trapped in painful samsara. Thus, just by simply accepting and entrusting themselves single-heartedly to the primal vow, which had already been wonderfully fulfilled 10 kalpas ago, countless foolish people without any hope were saved in the past, are being saved in the present, and will be saved in the future. Entrusting faith, shinjin, on our part, the persons to be saved, is the faith mind consciousness that fully accept the primal vow without doubt. It comes about with the awareness that we are evil beings who have been transmigrating from the beginningless past, with absolutely no possibility of escape from the vicious cycle of suffering. Thus, we accept Amida Buddha's primal vow that embraces us, and that its vow power absolutely assures our births in the Pure Land. Listening deeply to Amida's Dharma of salvation, which had been carefully explained by Master Shinran, would certainly arouse our aspirations to free ourselves from the relentless pain and suffering of samsara. This excellent practice, nurtured by the ripening of the good karmic seeds accumulated from our distant past, would surely result in our honest admission that pathetic persons like ourselves, heavily burdened by greed, hatred, ignorance, jealousy and arrogance, would never be able to extricate ourselves from the tenacious net of samsara. Thus, when we deeply realize the complete uselessness of our struggles to free ourselves through self-power practices, we would then immediately let go of all these egocentric, sundry practices and inclinations, naturally allowing ourselves to be instantly embraced by Amida Buddha and the Primal Vow. Embraced and not forsaken, Sesshu Fusha, by Amida's light, persons of entrusting faith, shinjin, are always illumined and protected by all Buddhas. Passionately exhorting all suffering beings to entrust themselves single-heartedly in the Primal Vow, Master Shinran urges us, in his magnum opus, the Jodo Shinshu, and in his other wonderful writings, that we should immediately take this easy path out of samsara, by accepting this great benefit of being grasped, and forever not abandoned, by Amida Buddha. This, then, is the true teaching, easy to practice for small, foolish beings. It is the straight way, easy to traverse for the dull and ignorant. Among all teachings the great sage preached in his lifetime, none surpasses this ocean of virtues. Let the one who seeks to abandon the defiled and aspire for the pure, who is confused in practice and vacillating in faith, whose mind is dark, and whose understanding deficient, whose evils are heavy, and whose karmic obstructions manifold, let such persons embrace above all the Tathagata's exhortations, take refuge without fail in the most excellent direct path, devote themselves solely to this practice, and revere only this shinjin. Hard to encounter, even in many lifetimes, is the decisive cause of birth, Amida's universal vow. Hard to realize, even in myriads of kalpas, is pure shinjin, that is true and real. If you should come to realize this practice and shinjin, rejoice at the conditions from the distant past that have brought it about. But if in this lifetime, still you are entangled in a net of doubt, then unavoidably, you must pass once more in the stream of birth and death, through myriads of kalpas. Wholly sincere, indeed, are the words of truth, that one is grasped, never to be abandoned, the right Dharma all surpassing and wondrous. Hear and reflect, and let there be no wavering or apprehension. In his poems on the Pure Land, Master Shinran wrote, he watches over Nembutsu followers within worlds numerous as dust particles that lie in the 10 directions, embracing and not forsaking them. Hence, he is called Amida. Thus, the moment we accept the fact that even ignorant beings like us will be born in the land of peace and bliss through Amida's marvelously mysterious vow, and there arises within us the desire to say the Buddha's name, Nembutsu, we already share in the benefit of being embraced, never to be forsaken. Saying the Buddha's name, Namo Amida Butsu, is Amida's great practice, bestowed on all miserable beings. It is the essence of Amida Buddha's primal vow. The moment when we come to realize that we are utterly incapable in performing self-power meditative and non-meditative practices, we would surely take the only option available to us, by entrusting ourselves to this fulfilled vow of boundless compassion, if gaining freedom from samsara, at the end of this precious human life, is indeed our goal. Thus, saying the excellent name is not our good, nor is it our self-power practice for accumulating merits. It is simply our expression of true settlement, and our complete reliance in the primal vow, with profound gratitude to Amida Buddha. All the Buddhas throughout the 10 directions, with one voice, praise and fully support our saying of Amida's name, which is easy to hold and simple to remember, for all foolish human beings, like us. They want us to find true meaning in our wretched lives, and be freed forever from the endless torture of samsara. Naturally, we enter the stage of the truly settled of those assured of nirvana, and thereby live out our remaining days in this perishing material body, listening deeply to the Amida Dharma and saying the Buddha's name, constantly coming into Amida's presence. We would then lead our lives, graciously accepting and living with the good or bad karma carried forward from our countless past lives. Receiving the gift of shinjin, Solely due to the merit transference from Amida Buddha, we have now entered the stage of non-retrogression, and are guaranteed birth in the Pure Land. Saying the Buddha's name, in deep gratitude, we easily walk out of samsara, without any obstacles, on the Pure Land path, the one and only path, now open to us. The Buddha's infinite merits and virtues are bestowed equally to all beings. May all accept Amida's gift of shinjin, and obtain birth in his land of peace and bliss. Truly settled in our minds and hearts, on this incredible spiritual journey, firmly embraced and protected by all the Buddhas, as we live out our last deluded life in samsara. Clearly and definitely, without any doubt, we have heard the call of boundless compassion. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.